Hey survivors, it's Angie Atkinson, and today at QueenBeing.com we're going to talk about some things about gaslighting that only survivors understand. All right, so let's get started. My name is Angie Atkinson, and this channel is all about teaching you what I know to be true. You really can create the life you want. The first thing I want to do for you today is to give you a brief definition of what gaslighting is, just in case you're not familiar with it. All right. Um, Essentially, it is a toxic manipulation technique that narcissists use to make their victims feel crazy. Well, it goes a little deeper than that, but essentially, what it comes down to is that a narcissist will gaslight you by kind of doing a little flip on you. They will. It happens most often when you make a valid point or have the nerve to question the narcissist about anything. And, that's about the time that everything, suddenly turns around and you're like, oh God, I'm so sorry that mostly that you bothered to engage in yet another pointless argument with a narcissist. How does it happen? Well, let's look at a quick example of how a narcissist will sort of flip the script on you during an argument. Let me tell you a little story, okay? So I have some friends, let's call them Jeff and Alicia, all right? They've been married 15 years. Suddenly, Jeff develops a drinking problem out of the blue. Well, he's been a social drinker until now, but suddenly he's spending more time away from home, and when he is home, he drinks more often than he doesn't. This, of course, causes Alicia and Jeff's kids to say, Mom, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Well, she gingerly brings her feelings and the kids' feelings to Jeff and, says, what's going on with the drinking, honey? Is something wrong? And he says, yeah, I realize that the kids have complained, but you know what? You're the one causing the problem. She's like, what? Why am I causing the problem? Well, of course, good old Jeff, he's like, well, he's like, you have been talking to them about the parties and my drinking and all of these things, and you are the person who, told them all this stuff. I mean, they're only children. They're not capable of forming those thoughts on their own. So that means that you must have told them, your concerns, and you poisoned my children against me. Well, of course, now Alicia's the one under the microscope, and Jeff systematically has pulled the old switcheroo on her, not only removing the focus from his bad behavior, but also beginning a whole new process of putting Alicia on trial. What would be the purpose of this? Well, before she knows what happens, Alicia begins to question her own thoughts. So now she's like, wait a minute, what if Jeff's right and I'm really a terrible mom? Okay, what if I've really been the problem all along? Maybe I'm as crazy as Jeff thinks I am. After all, I can't even seem to make a simple decision anymore. Well, guess what, my friends? She's just been gaslighted. All right? That is gaslighting. Now, I'm going to tell you some things that you probably didn't know about gaslighting and you might not know yet, but once you're fully in survivor mode, you'll get it. All right? Let's talk about it. Okay, now that you have the definition of gaslighting and an understanding of it, so it's basically one person's attempt, the narcissist's attempt, to tell you that what you know is true isn't true, and to shift the blame off of themselves and always to put you in the hot seat. Okay, now that we know that, we're going to talk about 10 things that only survivors understand about narcissists. All right, let's do it. Number one is narcissists don't always know they're doing it, and they don't always plan out gaslighting. What do I mean by this? Well, here's the thing. Gaslighting does not require you to plot out your behavior. It only requires the belief that it's okay to make someone believe that what they know to be true isn't true. Okay? It only requires that. And the rest of it just kind of happens as a narcissist feels threatened, as a narcissist feels afraid, feels angry, feels like you're putting something on them. Does that make sense? Okay. So it's kind of organic for them because it's kind of just who they are. And as humans. We tend to learn how to control and manipulate each other pretty naturally, but the distinguishing feature between a person who gaslights and a person who isn't is the fact that the person who is gaslighting kind of feels like they own the other person a little bit. Does that make sense? And in my personal experience, it also includes a person who has no empathy for the other people in that situation. Okay? Number two is that gaslighting is not the only form of manipulation that a narcissist will use against you. Now, gaslighting is always a type of manipulation, but manipulation is not always gaslighting. Does that make sense? Straight up manipulation will usually center around the idea that something needs to change. Okay, so with gaslighting, they use the threats, but they're more pervasive, they're more subtle, and they are simply made in order to influence your behavior, to change the way that you are as a person. And it works like a charm, especially when you don't know that it's happening to you. It's that's the key. Discovering that it's happening to you is the answer to beginning to change it. Once you've recognized it, you can start to move forward. But understand that gaslighting is far bigger and worse and more painful than your standard manipulation techniques because A, it's so almost undetectable, at least at first, and B, they both will make you feel like crap as a person. They will make you feel like you're not good enough, but gaslighting can actually damage your own belief in reality as you understand it. It's very deep and it can psychologically destroy you if you're not careful. Number three, gaslighting doesn't always involve the narcissist being mean to you or rude or disrespectful. The fact is that sometimes they come at you in a way that, they're like, oh, you're important to me, and I'm just only trying to help you out by explaining all of this to you. You see what I'm saying? So somehow the narcissist twists things and, they become your shoulder to cry on, or they become, your person who saves you from the bad thing, and, they can make you feel like a victim that needs to be saved. They can make you feel like you can't do anything without them. But the gaslighting sometimes is the long, con, as it were. Sometimes gaslighting involves a long-term process in which they slowly, chip away at your understanding of reality and your self-esteem and everything else. All right? So understand that one. Number four, part of gaslighting involves PTSD or PTSD type symptoms. One of the things that I think a lot of people aren't aware of with this situation is that when you're dealing with a narcissist who is gaslighting you, you sometimes can develop complex post-traumatic stress disorder or CPTSD. And one of the symptoms of that is forgetfulness. Okay? And so a lot of times when they begin to gaslight you, because you start to doubt your own reality, because they systematically teach you to do that, you actually forget what happened and you start to believe the lies that they told you happened, or you at least doubt yourself enough that you're not sure and you think you don't remember. And then as you move forward, sometimes you will forget things very quickly because if you dwell on them, you feel all stressed out and upset. And so you develop a little bit of a short-term memory issue. This can be corrected as you move forward with your recovery, but I want you today to understand it's normal and there's nothing wrong with you outside of a little PTSD, which we can work on. Number five, there are distinct stages, and each stage of gaslighting can get worse. Okay, and this especially is true when the relationship ends. So here's the difference between someone who's a narcissist and a regular person when it comes to fights, arguments, things like that. They don't just need to be right and be set. If you say, fine, you're right, you win, you win. If you don't say it convincingly enough and explain to them exactly why you're wrong and why they're right, it's not enough. Narcissist is just going to be like, nope, that's not what I asked for. I want you to know that you're wrong. Okay? So, in the beginning of it, in stage one, the narcissist is being a total, like, okay, let's make up an imaginary fight here. Let's say that the narcissist tells you the sky is green, it is not blue. Okay? Well, you're going to argue it's blue. You might do some checking around, ask your neighbor, what color is the sky? Well, it's blue. Okay. And this goes on and on. And you argue over dumb stuff like the what color the sky is in stage one, in the first stage of gaslighting. Okay. Um, Maybe you even argue over your feelings. Like he or she, the narcissist, tells you that you don't feel what you say that you feel. Okay. Or at this point, you're going to keep arguing and keep arguing and keep arguing because you know that you're right. And at the beginning of a relationship, you're still going to believe in yourself. Okay. As the relationship continues, you have been beaten up and abused long enough mentally and emotionally by gaslighting that in stage two you're going to consider the narcissist's point of view before you say that they're wrong, and then you're going to just do anything you can to just say, okay, I see what you're saying, but can you please try to understand what I'm saying? Okay, so I understand that you see the sky is blue or the sky is green, but do you see that I see the sky is blue, and here's why I think the sky is blue? Whatever. Okay, you keep engaging because you still worry that if they're wrong, if their perspective of you is wrong, that will be a problem. You want them to see you for who you truly are at this point still. So you still want to prove to the narcissist that just because they think you're wrong, you're still good. You're still trying to prove yourself as good enough to them. Okay. But in the stage three, when you get to really the end of the end of the relationship, or the point in the relationship where the narcissist just doesn't give a shit anymore, you're hurt, and so you've been battered emotionally, beaten down mentally, and so you're going to start seeing their point of view as normal. You're going to start asking yourself, what the hell's wrong with me? Why can't I get it right? Why am I so jealous? Why am I so this, that, or the other, whatever? Okay. And that's at the point at which you become just absolutely consumed with trying to understand them. In my relationship, that was the point at which, when I started to think everything was wrong with me, I started to read books about how to be a better wife. I started to learn how to have sex better. I tried to learn how to dress better, do my hair better. Nothing mattered because it was never going to be enough. Feel me? And I get that. Some people leave the relationship earlier, some people don't, but that's that's an important thing to understand, is that there are different levels and different stages of gaslighting that transition and get worse as you become more victimized by the narcissist. Number six, there are certain traits that are going to make you more susceptible to gaslighting, like being an empath. But as you know, those traits can also be things that are positive about you. So, three different things will pull you in to gaslighting in general, okay? And they include real simple stuff: the need to be right, the need to be understood, and the need to have someone tell you that you're good enough. Okay, approval. So, the need to be right, that's human. We all have it. And sometimes when we know that we're right, we need someone to understand that. And and with someone that we love, it's more than just being right. It's about having them see the truth as we understand it. Okay? And of course, the need for approval comes from our very core instincts, because we need, if we look back into our ancient DNA, ancient lives, or whatever, we needed as people to survive. And in order to do that, we needed to be part of a group of people. And in order to survive as part of a group of people, you need approval. See, just like when you're a baby, you need your mother's approval, or care at least, in order to survive up to a point. Okay? So that's where this starts from. So the thing is that being an empath, as you might be if you've been involved with a narcissist, it helps you understand people and their feelings. The reason that as an empath we fall for narcissists so easily is because we're kind of like the polar opposite of a narcissist. But, wherever their deficiencies are, well, that's what we're strong in, and that's why they like it. So that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be empathetic toward other people. to avoid being abused in the future. It just means that you need to understand that your empathy can be used against you by a narcissist, because a narcissist doesn't even always realize that they're faking it, but they just express themselves very strongly in the moment, and when the moment has passed, so do their feelings sometimes, if that makes any sense at all. Okay, so understand that, yes, the fact that you are someone who reacts strongly and feels the feelings of other people definitely draws the narcissist to you, but you can also still continue to be that person and learn how to be strong and protect yourself at the same time. Okay, don't give up on that. I want you to know one more thing. The ability to listen to someone talk about you and then try to change yourself, to receive constructive criticism is something that makes you an amazing person. Not everybody can do it. If you're doing it, great. But don't do it for the wrong people. Feel me? Don't do it for someone who doesn't truly love and respect you, because otherwise you're might be changing something about yourself that's amazing that that person's just threatened by. Know that. All right. Let's move on to number 7. Don't doubt yourself. Okay. You know who you are. You've always known who you are. And don't allow the narcissist to. I need you to not allow the narcissist to make you believe you're something that you're not. Okay. I believed for a long time very bad things about myself because I was told that those things were true. The narcissist will take the things that he or she wants you to be and make those things your standards, your ideals, and you will find yourself changing things about yourself that you might not even want to change just to make this person happy. Don't do that. Embrace your true self, and if your true self isn't lovable by the narcissist, it's time for you to find some way else to go. Don't stick with someone who doesn't love you for who you are. Don't tolerate needing to change who you are to be with someone. Be yourself, and if that person can't love you, they're not with you. You feel me? They're not really with you. Number 8, you don't know that it's not the narcissist's goal to confront you or to attack you. The narcissist's goal with gaslighting is to prevent you from showing him or herself a mirror, or from catching him or her when they've done something wrong. Their goal is to avoid being engaged with you on an equal playing field. Their goal is to teach you that you don't matter, your feelings and your thoughts don't matter, and you will believe, do, and think whatever they tell you to. That's their goal. So, the bottom line here is that you need to remember that you are not crazy. You don't need to question your reality because a narcissist tells you that you should. Okay? You need to understand that you have the right and, in fact, the responsibility to understand your reality as you do. Okay? Try telling the narcissist that, well, something that worked for me, and this only works if you're not in an abusive situation, okay? But the gray rock practice, I've talked about it before. I'll try to remember to link to a video for you in one of my videos up here at the top. But the gray rock practice, this is where you literally give them no reaction at all. So if they begin to involve you in an argument that seems to be going toward manipulation and gaslighting, well, then what I have done in the past, and what I still do, and if I ever get in a situation with a narcissist, is I disengage. I turn around and I step away. I say, you know what, I'm not going to continue this conversation like this, or I don't need to continue this conversation, or we're going to have to agree to disagree on that one. Don't argue with anyone who won't see your side of it. That is an important thing that you can remember. If you're going to waste your breath and your energy, don't do it. Feel me? Number 9, if you're in a situation where you're being gaslighted now, be prepared to go if you need to. I know it's hard, and even if you can't do it today, start working on a plan. Start saying goodbye to the parts of the narcissist that you love, because even if you love being part of their family, or you love being part of their work people or their group of friends or whatever, you're not going to be able to keep doing that when you go. You also need to start thinking about where you can go, start thinking about ways you can collect money to go if you're dependent on the narcissist financially. And you can start doing that with my work at home series called the Self-Employment Escape. I'll try to remember to link to it up here for you. And, you know, start to learn how to resist the manipulation, resist the gaslighting in the meantime. If you are being physically abused, you cannot stay. You can get emergency help if you're being physically abused. You can call your local domestic violence shelter, call your local police for resources. Go to queenbeing.com and check out my resources page for emergency domestic violence assistance. There are things you can do. But if you've got the time, realize that the person won't change. Ask yourself, can I be in this relationship no matter what happens? If this guy or girl stays exactly how they are right now, can I live this way for the rest of my life? If the answer is no, you gotta go. All right? Finally, number 10, you need to know that a narcissist doesn't always act alone in gaslighting. So in some cases, a narcissist will use what we call flying monkeys against us, where they will actually employ other people in the manipulation. Now, in some cases, those people are unwitting flying monkeys, as in they don't know that stuff is, that they believe that they're trying to help. Okay, and they care about you and they care about the narcissist and they're really trying to help. But then you've got people who are willing flying monkeys, and they're willing to help the narcissist because they're part of the narcissistic, little circle of toxicity, the narcissistic harem, as it were. So when that happens, that's going to amplify and make it more painful, the whole gaslighting process. So understand that. Certainly there is shame involved with wrapping up a relationship with a narcissist. Certainly it is painful. Certainly it's not something anyone wants to have to do. But you've got a couple choices here. You can continue to be abused and manipulated in your home and treated the way you've been treated and being uncomfortable and having your life suck. Or you can take a chance and you can stand up for yourself and you can try again at life. You can get your life back. You can take your life back if you want to, my friend. And that is what I hope that you choose to do for your sake. But either way, I'll be here every day supporting you. So if you have questions, comments, concerns regarding narcissistic abuse recovery, or the related topics, let me know. I'm always happy to make new videos. If you have questions about gaslighting or anything else, or any of the things I just mentioned, leave them in the comments below. I always read my comments and I try to respond to everyone. I don't always get a chance to respond to everyone, but I try really hard to do my best at that. So I'd appreciate any comments you can leave me today. All right. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. It's been a very, very, very long afternoon. So you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of your day and a part of your life. And hey, thanks for being a part of mine. It means the world to me and I really appreciate you. I'll see you soon. Have a good night. It's my mission to teach others what I know to be true. You really can create the life you want. Take care of your body. Take care of your soul. Nurture the real you and introduce him or her to the world. Be comfortable in your own skin and in your place in this world. Take your spot. Take it now. And the universe will take its cue from you. You feel me? If so, subscribe to my channel. Let's get it done together.